They say that good things come to those who wait, and boy have we waited for this one. The Hero XPulse was first shown as a concept in end 2017, and it's been over 1.5 years before we've got our hands on the production motorcycle. But you see, the wait goes on much beyond that, because this motorcycle is a spiritual successor to the Hero Impulse, a bike that came out all the way back in 2011. So we have established that we have waited. Now it's time to answer the question that's on all your minds. Is this a good thing? The original Impulse was more than just India's first off-road motorcycle, and it was also the first bike to be sold under the new Hero MotoCorp banner. Nevertheless, the Impulse was heavily based on the Brazil spec Honda NXR 150, and it also ran the same 150cc engine you'd find in the likes of the Honda Unicorn or the Hero CBZ Extreme. This time around though, things are very different, and the XPulse is a completely in-house engineering effort down to the frame and the powertrain. In fact, this time around, the XPulse comes in two flavors, the off-road biased XPulse and the more road-focused XPulse T. With that in mind, the Hero Ride event was spread over 2 days, with the first day dedicated to the off-road motorcycle. Since this is a brand new motorcycle, we should probably start with the way it looks. And it's quite obvious that Hero's taken a simple, clean and rather straightforward approach to the design. In fact, the XPulse isn't a very exciting thing to look at, although the front end does remind of the Honda CB300R with its round full LED headlamp. The new fuel tank holds 13 litres and it's quite a bit longer than the one on the Impulse. The seat isn't as flat as you'd find on a proper enduro bike either, and that's because Hero had to ensure that the seat height was reasonably accessible, which they've managed to do quite well. The rear section, however, looks quite plain and almost commuter-like in the design of its quarter panels, and it would have been nice to see something more unique here. On the upside, the XPulse family debuts a new LCD instrument cluster which features Bluetooth connectivity and supports simple turn-by-turn navigation. The display is easy to read and it has all the information you need. Both XPulse models get this display as well as an under-seat USB charger, but only the off-road version gets the small windscreen. Hero's deep involvement in rally raid motorsport shows in the XPulse's tyre sizes. With a 21-inch front and an 18-inch rear, this is the exact same size that you'll find in the Dakar rally bikes. Now what these big rims bring is stability, and off-road, stability means confidence. Another big upside though is that with these sizes, you have access to a whole world of aftermarket tyre options. A few minutes into riding at the trails in the huge Big Rock Motor Park outside Bengaluru, it becomes clear that this is a very friendly and encouraging machine. I'm particularly sold on the suspension setup. It's not too soft, but it has vast amounts of travel and it soaks in bumps really well. In fact, I never managed to bottom it out at all, but then again, I probably wasn't riding hard enough. I'll happily admit that I have a lot to learn about off-road riding, and the XPulse seems completely understanding of that. Part of this friendly nature comes from its brand new frame, which looks similar to the single down tube unit on the Extreme, but it is in fact a brand new frame. The swing arm is also new and it uses high tensile steel in its construction. Even the rear shock is a brand new unit and it's adjustable for preload by 10 steps, unlike the 7-step unit you'll find on the Extreme 200R and the XPulse 200T. Now it's been a long time since I rode the old Impulse, but I can say with confidence that the XPulse has much better suspension control. What's also different is that the XPulse is heavier than the Impulse by nearly 20 kilos, but I found the bike very easy to manage, and it's worth bearing in mind that this motorcycle is still nearly 40 kilos lighter than the Royal Enfield Himalayan. The XPulse feels slim and its riding position is spacious, upright and super comfortable, even though the foot pegs are now higher than before. Now these higher set pegs are a blessing off-road, but I found myself wishing that they were set a bit further to the back to help grip the bike more effectively while standing up. Front and rear brake sizes are identical on both XPulses, but the off-road bike gets pedal discs at both ends. Single channel ABS is standard and it doesn't get in the way too much on loose surfaces, while the rear brake is easy to modulate. The Seat Grips tyres continue to impress as they've done on the Himalayan, with a good balance between off-road confidence and on-road grip. Now it goes without saying that this is not a hardcore off-roader, and I found myself enjoying the slow and technical trails more than the motocross track at Big Rock. Nevertheless, all these ingredients come together to make for a bike that feels so confident and encouraging that you quickly start looking to up the pace. And that's where the XPulse feels a bit lacking.
It uses the very same 2-valve air-cooled 200cc motor that debuted in the Extreme 200R a few months ago. This one though gets fuel injection, and while that adds a bit of smoothness on top, this engine still makes the exact same power and torque figures as earlier.
As we've seen with the Extreme, this level of performance feels more on par with quick 160cc motorcycles in the faster 200s. In the dirt, it's enough to spin up the rear end first, but above that it's not so easy to steer the bike with a throttle. The story is similar out on the highway as well, where a cruising speed of about 85 to 90 km per hour is sustainable, but anything above 100 feels like work. For sharper response, the XPulse runs a larger rear sprocket up by one tooth over the Extreme 200 and the XPulse T. We found that the bike hits an indicated top speed of about 125 kph with the assistance of a full crouch and a long stretch of downhill tarmac. Effortless high-speed performance then is not a strong point, and we discovered that the seats on both bikes are uncomfortably firm over long periods as well, especially on the 200T. Now this is something that Hero says they're aware of, and they tell us that these are not the final production seats, so we'll have to see how that goes. Overall, performance levels are just about adequate, but I'm not sure how effortless things will be when you go looking for some high altitude adventures with about 20 kilos of luggage strapped on the back.
It certainly isn't excitingly quick, but I tell you what, the XPulse feels bulletproof on whatever roads you can throw at it. And when you actually get to a set of trails, there's a lot of fun to be had. Now it's been a long day and the heat has been relentless, but I've had a good time on this bike, and I'm keen to see what the XPulse T has in store for us tomorrow, because that bike has quite a different identity to this one.
We hopped onto the XPulse T the next morning, and even though this bike looks remarkably similar to the XPulse, it feels dramatically different on the road. And that shouldn't come as a surprise, because if you look beyond the smaller 17-inch wheels and the conventionally positioned exhaust, the XPulse T is quite a different animal under the skin.
In fact, the XPulse 200T has a surprising amount in common with the Hero Extreme 200R. It looks like an XPulse and it has the XPulse main chassis underneath, but the wheels and tires, they're from the Extreme. The 200cc engine is carbureted, just like you'd find in the Extreme. Even the swing arm has come off the Extreme. But most of all, the front and rear suspension that has the same amount of travel as the Extreme, with 130 mm at the front and 110 mm at the rear.
Unsurprisingly, the XPulse T behaves very much like a road bike. It's supple, but it doesn't have anything close to the crater-eating ability of the standard XPulse. At the same time, the front suspension has the same spindle offset as the XPulse, which means that the steering geometry is a little more relaxed and the suspension feels a little softer as well. All this means that the XPulse 200T is a good handler, but not quite as good as the Extreme 200R, and from what we understand, Hero is trying to offer a more comfortable experience with this bike with a fully upright riding position. In case you were wondering, the T in the name stands for Tour, which is kind of contradicted by this bike's missing windscreen as well as its lack of serious highway performance. If the XPulse T had some more suspension travel, it could have come across as a nice all-road version of the standard XPulse, but as things stand, this is a street bike that's wearing the XPulse's clothes and name.
Having ridden both these bikes now, we'll start the conclusion with the XPulse 200T. I'm not so sure about the positioning of this motorcycle, but I guess it makes for a good option for someone who likes the design of the XPulse and maybe the brand and the idea that comes with that brand, but they don't want such a tall motorcycle and maybe they just don't want to spend as much. But if you want the real deal, this is the one to have. The XPulse is great fun out on the trails, and I think it'll make for a fantastic bike to go out and explore what lies outside your city. Is it a big upgrade over the original Impulse? Well, I think it needs more urgent performance to truly qualify as that, but I will tell you this, the XPulse comes as a great successor to the Impulse because just like the original, it's fun, it's easy, and it's very well priced. In fact, I can't wait to spend more time with it.